Hi, I'm Mr. Sonic Nevitz, and this is a video with some quick tips on when you're shopping for collector editions, especially if you're a beginner, and just stuff to look out for. So the first thing you want to do when browsing around shelves at your local comic book store or even bookstores is to pay particular attention to the quality of the book. So if it's a hardcover, you want to check the corners, make sure they're not dinged or anything, check the spine. If it's unsealed, maybe you want to open it up and see how it opens. Maybe see if there's any issues there with that. If it's a trade paperback, those can get dinged up pretty easily, so check if there's any dog-eared corners. That means like they fold inward or outward. Check the spine, make sure it's not pushed in or cracked or something, because I've seen a lot of those. Another thing to look out for, and stores shouldn't do this, but they do anyways, I've seen it, is if it has a dot on the top or the bottom, or it could even be a black mark. That's called a remainder mark, and that's when books are returned to the publisher at at some sort of price, so that the bookstore, the comic book store, can make some money back if it doesn't sell. Those are not allowed to be sold as new and shouldn't be on the shelves, but I've seen stores do that anyways. Look out for those. They severely lower the value of a book if it's on there. But yeah, that's the first tip on just visual things you can see, in regards to quality. The second thing you want to look out for when you're shopping for books is any information you can glean about the book on the outside without opening it up. So say if it's sealed. So the first thing you can look out for right here is the ISBN number that's right underneath the barcode, and it also has a separate thing with white text above it. So that's the International Standard Book Number. Because this is a book, they all have them. So everything I showed you in the previous video, the trades, the OHCs, the omnibus, these oversized hardcovers, they all have that. So that number you can put into Google, or even more specifically if you use Amazon, and it should pop up this book. So if I put in this number, this book should show up, and you can find out information about it that way. So that's a good way if you're not sure about a book, and you're like, I wonder, it's sealed, so I wonder stuff about it, and you can just put that number in Google. It should help you out. Now, if the book's unsealed, there are the one page you can check, which I mentioned in the previous video, the indica right here. This is all the publishing information, like I said before, that's different from the creator information that's right here. So this has stuff about the company, so it's stuff about Marvel, who was in charge at the time, like the publisher they used. Because actually, one thing you want to check, especially when you get into this, books have different publishing, not publishers, but the actual company that produces the book. So Marvel doesn't actually make their books. They send out the scans somewhere. Those scans are then printed into a book and bound. That's the company that does it. There's different companies that do it. Some are very bad and are not good at their jobs. So if you're ever worried to look out for, I think one thing I always look out for is if it's a Quad Graphics book. That's a specific printing company. Their books are awful. So always make sure, and that information would be right here if you ever need to know that. What also is right here in this little paragraph is the issues, like I said before in the other video. So if you want to double check what's in here, if it's not on the back, or if the back might be wrong, you're not sure, check right here in this indica and it'll tell you. It'll also tell you the printing of the book, because sometimes different printings of different book of the same book should have different ISBN numbers because they're different books. But sometimes they don't, because Marvel and DC can be incompetent sometimes with that. And so you can check the inside of a book and the indica, and it will tell you what printing it is and what year it came out, which is pretty important. And the one example I have for them messing up with that is right here. This Justice League International Omnibus cannot be checked with the ISBN on what printing it is. You have to open it up. So if you're shopping online and they have a sealed copy, you won't know, which is a big deal because the first printing of that book has errors in it, like printing errors, like missing word bubbles and such. So it's a pretty big deal, and it's pretty sad that you can't figure it out just by the ISBN. There's also another case I've had, only one, of the indica being wrong as well as the back being wrong on the back of the book on what issues are contained inside. And that's this Green Lantern omnibus right here. I believe the indica doesn't mention the Green Lantern core issues that are in here, or the Green Lantern core issues that are in here for the Sinestro War crossover. And it's pretty funny when I was reading through it and I didn't see them, and I'm like, oh, well, guess I know that now. So that's the information you can find on trades and collected editions, hardcovers, to help you out. Now, there is one small tip I have for Floppies, if you that's your thing, especially if you collect them and you want to make sure of stuff. So right here, this small little barcode on the front, when they scan your books, when you purchase them, this right here can actually really help you out. So there's 5 numbers right here. The middle number is the actual issue number of whatever series it is. That's not super important because it's usually on the front, but it's good to know. The 5th number though, that's the really important one. That's the printing issue, or that's what printing it is. So if you have like a pretty pricey issue you see at your local comic book store and you don't want to touch it, you can find out very easily right there that 5th number. And, especially because, for example, a lot of first printings are more expensive than second printings. So if you're going through them and you're like, going through the books or the floppies, I'm sorry, and you want to make sure real fast, just check that number and you're good to go. But anyways, that was some quick tips on protecting yourself and protecting your collection when you go shopping in bookstores and comic book stores. Things to look out for, and just to make sure that your collection stays up to date, and safe with smart consuming choices. So thank you for watching.